The views or opinions expressed on Ann Arbor Inclusive do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the City of Ann Arbor and the Commission on Disability Issues. For more information about the Ann Arbor Commission on Disability Issues, please visit a2gov.org/disability resources.
Hello and welcome to Ann Arbor Inclusive. I'm Zach Damon. We have a wonderful show for you today as Carolyn Growie, the Executive Director and CEO of the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living, joins us in studio. Carolyn, let's get right to it, shall we? First of all, how are you today?
I'm terrific, Zach. Thank you so much for having us and for highlighting the center. We really appreciate the Ann Arbor CIL being a focus of your show.
Of course, it's our pleasure. Well, the one thing I wanted to ask you first is, for those that don't know, what is the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living, and what would you say are some of the benefits of the participants?
The Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living is a nonprofit organization that's been around since 1976, and we work with and on behalf of people with disabilities. We offer hope, provide support, transform lives by working with individuals towards their successes at home, at work, at school, and in the community. And we work with individuals who are youth in school. We work with them at home. We work with adults and seniors. We work with all different age groups and all different ethnicities and all different disability groups. Some of the benefits to participants is being able to connect to others who might have disabilities like themselves. We have 5 core services. Those core services are information and referral, independent living services, advocacy, peer support, and then helping for community transitions, so that when we have change of life or development in our life, to be able to adjust to what's coming next.
One of the other things I wanted to ask you too is, what is one of the big misconceptions that people that don't know what the center is? You know, there's a lot of people that say, okay, the Ann Arbor CIL, what is that and how do I get involved? But what's one of the big misconceptions?
One of the biggest misconceptions is that as our community has been aging, we've developed assisted living in our community, and the Ann Arbor CIL has no apartments, no housing. We're not a living center. What we are is a place where people have opportunities for growth, and they get referrals, and they get resources, and they learn skills, but nobody lives at the center, and we don't have any housing right on premises. Our center is geared towards educating us on how to best use the community and resources to have that greatest quality of life that we each deserve.
And education, I feel, is very important. And so I think that, again, it's so paramount that you guys provide that education. So you talked about the CIL and what you guys do, but what are some of the goals that you, as the Executive Director and CEO, have for the center for this coming year?
So in this coming year, we're hoping to continue to grow the number of people that we serve. One of the pieces is that we provide services to close to 3,100 people in our community through a variety of different kinds of services that we provide. But in our county, in Washtenaw County alone, we have over 54,000 people who have disabilities. So where are the other 51,000? We don't know exactly, in the sense that not everybody may need services, and we're not asking that everybody has to come in to see us. We want people to just make sure that we know who we are, so that when they need a resource or a service, we can be that agent or that caveat to help support them in finding what they need. Because again, we work with them on behalf of somebody. The center never does things for somebody. We're always doing it with you because it's for the individual. So the individual has that power, that choice for themselves. It's nothing about us without us.
So let's rewind the tape a bit, if we will. Okay. And I'd really like to just ask, when was the first time that you had an experience with the CIL, and when did you start working with them? When did you interact with the CIL?
So I've been around the block for just a little bit longer than you, Zach, but I started to come to the center back in 1987. In '87, there were some changes going on in my own life. I had been a person with diabetes for some time, and at that point my vision was changing. I was becoming a person who had legal blindness, and I didn't know a whole lot about what the services were in the community or how I was going to continue my education or how I was going to work. And so I came to the center and received some peer support, learned about the resources that might be around to continue my education, got connected with what was then Michigan Commission for the Blind, Now it's Bureau for Services for Persons Who Are Blind, and was able to then get connected to employment and working in our community and doing all the activism and advocacy type work that I used to do. I came to the center then as an employee in 2005, and I've been there for just over close to 11 years now, and then now in the executive director since 2014.
Wow, what a journey.
Yeah.
And hopefully what a fruitful one.
Yes, a lot of great things have happened through the center and through the community over the course of time.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Very thankful.
So you've been to a lot of other Center for Independent Livings, and they have different ones all over the U.S. But what is a quality that you feel makes the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living unique?
Well, one of the things that I think is really unique about our center is that when there is an idea for a program, we try to develop it. So we try to really work at creating those new opportunities that could exist. One of those opportunities that we have really blossomed with, both with Ann Arbor and ourselves, is doing the disability awareness workshops that we do with fourth graders in the school. It's an opportunity that we engage with about 1,200 fourth graders every year. Wow. And when we work with them, we're helping to educate them what disability is all about. We give them some disability awareness, some tools. We teach them how to assess whether something's accessible or not. They meet other people with disabilities. Hopefully they learn to interact with their peers who may have disabilities at the school at another level. And hopefully when they're out in the community, then when they see something right or wrong, they recognize it and they acknowledge it. And so that's been really a rewarding piece as an example. But we were the first center in Michigan.
Really?
And we were the fourth center in the country. In the state, there are now 15, and across the state, the United States and throughout the world, there are about 600 centers. So we all have this similar philosophy that 51% or more of our staff and our board must be people with disabilities. And we also work on those core services that I mentioned at the beginning of the taping. So those were information and referral, independent living skills, advocacy, peer support, and community transition services.
Well, you talked a lot about activities that are social, you know, for participants of the CIL. Could you sort of tell the viewers how important is a social life when sort of living life with a disability? I mean, is that a challenge for a person with a disability in your mind?
For some people, it can be extremely challenging. A lot of individuals may or may not yet be comfortable, A, with themselves or with being in the public. So we really try to give opportunities that are both at the center and out in the community. So as an example, we offer that opportunity to be connected with a peer so that they can identify with somebody else who may be going through something or have gone through something that's similar to themselves. Then we might have an activity such as a networking lunch at the center, or such as a Diversibility Theater that you've participated in, or Toastmasters, or Art Friday, or ceramics, or something like that, where there's an activity at the center site to engage in. But our goal is that individuals come and be part of us, but we're not trying to hang on to everybody like you must stay in our four walls. We want everybody to be able to go out and enjoy the community and the world at large. So then we do other activities, such as having social nights out that might be out at restaurants, or we might get involved with advocacy efforts with City Council, or we get involved with the efforts of the disability awareness workshops in the schools. So there's opportunity to connect with other people. And that's really important because part of a quality of life is feeling welcomed and participatory and being able to be included. So just like your show is Ann Arbor Inclusive, we want the community to be Ann Arbor inclusive.
Oh, thank
or
you.
Including our whole county and also Livingston and Monroe counties that we participate in.
Oh, definitely, and I think we agree as well. Ann Arbor is a tremendous city, and I think from experience has just welcomed myself and a lot of people with open arms. So I agree with you. Yeah. Be inclusive. So let's talk about people who, again, want to get involved with the center but don't know how. How can they become a participant at the CIL? How can they become a volunteer? Or how can they contribute so that the CIL can continue to move forward and continue to reach its goals and continue to make the impact in the disability community in Ann Arbor as it has?
Our community participants can get involved very easily, similar to actually all of the above that you've just said. So whether you're a business who wants to hire and learn and have consultation, or you're a community member who needs a service, or you're looking for a job, or you happen to be a person who would like to volunteer or to donate, contacting us directly. So our Our phone number is 734-971-0277. You can go through the information referral process and be connected to something that's going on. Or you might want to look on our website at www.AnnArborCIL, all spelled out, .org. And then when you look there, you can see the calendar of events that are coming up. There's the opportunity to click to say that you want to participate in an activity, or that you want to volunteer, or that you'd like to donate. And when you get involved with us, typically we find that people stick around a little while. Would you say so?
I would say so, yes.
Yeah.
It's a group that has a very, very wonderful energy and definitely a unique perspective, and it's wonderful.
Yeah. So again, just a little bit further with that, with the donations and whatnot, we function because we get supported from the community. And thank you to everybody out there who is supporting us, because that work that we do can only happen because of you, because the community is part of that donation process. And so whether it's an annual campaign, a gala event, coming to a speaker series, showing up for a consultation, having us come and be part of your organization, working collaboratively, that's how we make the quality of our community better.
So here's another question that I think is, in my mind, pretty paramount. So is the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living, is that just for members with physical disabilities, or is that open to veterans as well? I mean, because from experience, I've had others that have said, oh no, I can't go there because I don't use this or I don't have that. Now, how open is the CIL to others that have different types of challenges?
Very open. So one of the slogans that you see sometimes on some of our flyers is that we're more than you think. And when we say that, we don't isolate to a particular type of disability or a particular class of individuals. So certainly all of our veterans, thank you so much for your service. We appreciate what you've done for us to be able to have the freedoms that we all have. And the center is open to all veterans. The center is open to all types of disabilities. We work with people who may have mental health conditions, cognitive impairments, learning disabilities, visual, hearing, physical disabilities, spinal cord injuries, cerebral palsy. You name the disability, we're not closing a door on them in any way. We're open to all different types. We tend to have individuals who come to us after they know somebody else who might have that disability who's been with us. But we don't close it from anybody. Our More Than You Think green paper that you can see both on our website as well as at our center shows about 50 disabilities. But those disabilities aren't even the end of the line, because we can't list everything on a piece of paper. But what we want to make sure people know is that we are a welcoming, inviting environment that's there for you to work on what you want to work on towards your successes, towards your goals, or where you want to go in the future.
Did you hear that, folks? Towards your successes. I like that. That's wonderful. Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about, there's an event that's coming up, and it's one of the annual events with the center, and it's a unique event, but also it's just very wonderful to attend. So can you talk a little bit about the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living's annual Gala benefit, and what it is, why it's important, and why people should come?
Well, the Gala is a fabulous evening. It's a lot of work, as you know, that goes into it. We appreciate all of the sponsors, and we could certainly use additional sponsors, so anybody watching, we're welcome to take your organization on as a sponsor of the event. The reason that it exists is it's a way for us to do some of that fun fundraising, right? So it's an opportunity for people to come and have a great evening, to be able to be involved, and then what they're giving and what they're participating in when they come and act and are engaged is giving back to the community. So we have a live and silent auction. We have a giving item in which we talk about our center and why it matters. How come the money that's donated makes a difference? How can we push those boundaries further? You know, we're at 40 years now. We want to go to 40 more. You know, we want to see how we can continue to create an even greater environment for all persons, including all of us who have disabilities.
Well, folks, we're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back, so grab a snack and we'll see you then.
Looking into the flame, she saw somebody smiling at her. That was her grandmother. Then, the little match girl and her grandmother walked to the place for peacefulness.
Grandma, where are we at now?
Oh dear, we're at the farmer's market. The Ann Arbor Farmers Market is open in wintertime on Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. So please come to the market and have fun, always fresh and friendly.
And welcome back to Ann Arbor Inclusive. I'm Zach Damon. I'm with Carolyn Growie, who's the Executive Director and CEO of the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living. Carolyn, again, thank you for being with me today. And let's get back into it, shall we? So you talked about the annual Gala benefit, but then you also mentioned in your response that the CIL is celebrating a very big anniversary, the 40th year anniversary of the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living. So can you talk about why the 40th year anniversary is important in your mind?
The 40th anniversary symbolizes 4 decades of hard work, working to make systems change and life quality, quality of life improvements for our community. Back when the center began, it began back with 4 people. And now we have, a center with 17 people working, and we're providing services to more people in 3 counties. It's not just in Ann Arbor. One of the other pieces that is so dramatic about the change in time is that we're now celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Americans with Disability Act. So the opportunity to have inclusion at work, at school, at home, and in the community has just, continued to grow and formulate in different ways. And for us to be here and to be able to continue that effort and that work and look at new ways of making grounds for betterment for our society is fantastic. Many years ago, there was the Individual Disabilities Education Act that existed for youth in schools, but everything would stop when you got out of high school. Well, since that time, the Americans with Disabilities Act has come along, and that gave students an opportunity to go to college. And then that gave students an opportunity to finish up with degrees and have a career, to be educated, to be involved, to be our broadcasters, to be our social workers, to be community members who are designing cars, who are being able to work in our restaurants, being able to do all kinds of things that 40 years ago, the numbers weren't so great. But we've continued to grow and improve, and that's just an amazing feeling to know that we're part of that. We're part of that change and that growth and that model that happens in our community through the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living.
Speaking of change and growth and supporting quality of life, I know that you've worked with Mayor Taylor on some things, and he's very much in support of the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living. So can you talk about, why Ann Arbor is so progressive in that, and some things as an Ann Arbor resident that you feel separate Ann Arbor from other cities as far as being accessible?
Well, there are always things that we can continue to improve, so let me say that we're not done. I wish I could tell you that I was out of work, Zach, and the center's doors could close because it was all good, right? So we work on lots of different things. And yes, Mayor Taylor has signed on to continuing the promise of the ADA. The community has made change and improvements. We've added lots of curb ramps. When we build things now, we inspect them before we approve them, so we make sure that things are right. We look at ways that our parks and our city systems can be accommodating to individuals with disabilities to make it a better experience for everybody. We look at ways that our community can be welcoming to those who are visiting. We have a fantastic bus system. It keeps growing with our ability to have more access. We look at ways in which individuals can get from point A to point B, whether they're on a lifeline service to go to a doctor, or they're on a lifeline quality service like a luxury to go out to a game or to go to a movie or a restaurant. We have that capability because our community thinks that having access is important, and it really matters. It does. You hear my passion, it matters.
Of course, I hear it. I'm with you. But Carolyn, on the other side of the coin, what are some things that you feel as the executive director and CEO of the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living that really need to be addressed in the city? What are some things that you really hope can progress and need to be worked on?
So we have been continuing to work on all different kinds of pieces. Our city isn't a young city. We've been here for a while. So we've got a lot of older buildings. We've got a lot of older infrastructure that could be continually improved. So we like to be involved as those processes take place to try to advocate for improvements. We also, are in a county that's looking at how it assesses itself and how can it afford the services that they provide. We want to make sure that individuals who are needing community living supports can continue to get those, that we don't cut off services for what's giving people that opportunity to be independent. Again, many years ago, people were in institutions. Now people are in the community. So we got to make sure our community continues to offer great services to individuals in all sectors so that we make sure that everybody has that opportunity. It doesn't matter whether you're a person who is wealthy or a person who is poor, a person who is white, a person who's black, a person who's Jewish, a person who's Catholic, a person who's Muslim. It doesn't matter whether you're a veteran or not a veteran, whether you have a physical disability that can be seen or an invisible disability. At any point in time, you might need a service, and our great community needs to be able to fill that need to make sure that we continue to have services available to all of us. Because it doesn't matter, all of us may be affected at any point in time, and we want to continue to make sure that those success stories happen because we do what we need to as a whole with a W. So we leave no holes with an H.
No holes with an H, and I think that speaks again to the very foundation of what the Center for Independent Living is. I think the independent part is extremely important. Mm-hmm. Do you have any cases, participants rather, that have done well that you want to sort of highlight? Anybody you'd like to just share with us?
Well, I can share stories with you, but rather than sharing people's names on air, I think I'll just share examples.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So as an example, we had an individual who had come to us and wasn't sure what they were going to do with their life. They didn't know what they wanted to do. They knew that they hoped that they could go on with their education, but they were experiencing pretty significant disability with their learning disability. And so taking classes and exams, et cetera, were really quite difficult for them. And so they came and they were part of our employment program, and they were able to participate. They became a hairdresser, and they were able to go on and be part of the community, have life-sustaining work that they can do, and they credit that from the empowerment and peer support that they received at the center, to know that somebody believed in them, to know that they were capable of doing it. And now, 6.5 years later, that person's still employed, still working for the organization that they went to go and be a stylist for, and they're happy and enjoying life. That's an example. For my own example, I was in school and I needed to learn what supports I needed in order to be able to read my textbooks and write my papers and do all of that. I learned that through the connections through the center. We also have individuals who have been able to find a peer for their first time, gentlemen who didn't know anybody else in the community with their disability, and they were able to get connected so that they now have somebody they can talk to and know that even though they're a person with autism, they're able to be with others and know that it's okay to experience the things that they experience and to ask for the needs that they need to be met.
Yeah.
All of that is part of what it's like to come through the Center for Independent Living.
So, I guess from your experience, is there anything that you personally want to highlight to the viewers that we haven't touched on? Is there anything in your mind that, hey, this is important, know this?
We've been pushing boundaries for a long time. We can always use additional folks to join in with us, and there's always that need for finding additional funding. One of those pieces is that social services is part of our society, but it isn't always funded at the level of need. And so we want to continue to make our community strong. So we've been working very hard at youth transition services as an example, and our programs will hopefully continue to expand. It's something that our state's investing in and our federal government's investing in. So we're hoping that that will help to make the quality of life better for our young people. We've worked really hard at trying to make services available to individuals who are older, and now we're trying to continue to make services be of the strength and quality that are needed for individuals who are younger to move on independently, to let people know that we can all do this together, that it's better together as a community.
That's amazing. When you talk about better together, what I feel that the CIL really is too, is it's another home, it's another place where people with disabilities in the community community can go. Do you feel that way? I mean,
Yes.
is the CIL another home for people in the community with disabilities?
We call our kitchen area the gathering place. We talk about that often, that when we bring tours through our site, which we're welcome to bring the community in for tours if they would like to, just contact us at both our website or our phone number that will be broadcasted later. At our office as well, we have a very large kitchen and gathering place. And that gathering place is a spot where everybody comes to feel at home, to feel welcomed, to feel like they are part of the whole. That W whole, W-H-O-L-E.
That's
We
right.
all want to be part of the whole. And when people feel valued and people are committed to each other, then we can see change. We see growth and future that comes out of that.
So I would say that as far as the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living and as far as the outlook for the city in the future in terms of disability, it is very positive. There's a big positive shift that's happening. It's growing, and the plant is getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yes,
And
well, we're the city of trees, right?
that's
So we
that's
wanna
right. The
keep
city
growing.
of trees. That's right. That's exactly right. You know, I think again, the work that you do is amazing because without hard-working people like you, Carolyn, and the center, I mean, I myself, there's a lot of skills that I have been able to develop that I don't think would have been as fine-tuned or as well executed if I hadn't attended a center or if I wasn't given those resources. Can you also talk about really quickly the job workshops that you have, the employment
Yes.
workshops? Because unemployment with people with disabilities is also a big issue.
People with disabilities tend to be more unemployed than others. We're about 64% more of unemployment than other populations that are in our community. And what happens at our employment workshops is that we have usually twice a month, usually the the first and third Wednesdays of the month, we have employment workshops. And then the second and fourth Tuesdays, we have something called Job Talk, where individuals can come and talk about their job search and work on what they're going on. As well with our employment program, we also offer the ability to do speed interviewing or to do some resume building and to talk about what Dress for Success means and how to do all those things. And we do that with an open mind and an open opportunity. What I really didn't say yet, Zach, all along, is that it's a team. It isn't just Carolyn, it isn't just the employment program or the Diversibility Theater or the Toastmasters or these different parts. It's the whole. The whole team comes together, and when the team works together, it's better together. So it's really the team of effort, a great team of staff who are all working really hard together to work with and on behalf of the community of people with disabilities towards all of our successes.
And well, folks, that's all the time we have for you today. I want to thank Carolyn Growley for joining me in studio, and we hope you can see Ann Arbor Inclusive next month. Stay awesome, Ann Arbor.